Hello and welcome to everyone. Welcome to our audience watching us online, since this festival is an online theater festival, Theater European Alternatives, with its motto STURM and DRANG. And today we will have the opportunity to talk about one, I would say, an important project, a project that would tell us something more about the future of our theaters, future of the theaters in general in our countries and in this region as well, just as about the future of our playwrights and the youngest generation of the playwrights. Maybe not the youngest, but at least the young generation, a new generation, a new wave of playwrights. So we are here to talk about one project, as I said, a very important one, a project called named Theater in the Creative Industries 2021, focused on young plays in North Macedonia, and also named as Skopje Whispers, Screams, and Dramatizations. And our guests today are, of course, young playwrights, but also I will introduce first I would say the producer, the publisher, the initiator, the editor, the program producer, and so many other things. And I would say the most important person for this project to happen. That's the associate professor and PhD Ivanka Apostolova-Baskar, who is also the representative of Macedonian Center ITI. Hello, Ivanka.
Hello, Bismarck. Thank you for this wonderful introduction. And thank you very much to Thea Begos and her team who invite us to present our project. I am maybe initially important, but the most important are our selected and invited authors who are guests and part of this Zoom communication, conference, dialogues. I will be very short.
Yeah. Can you tell us something more about the project? Can you tell us how this project came to be, and give us a context about the discussion that we are going to have afterwards?
Of course. First of all, maybe it is more fashion and trend to talk about continuity, but maintaining, nourishing, taking care, and fighting for continuity in our professions, it's very important. It's not easy because we have fragile cultural policy, which means that our center for this year is not supported for the annual project. And but thanks to the city of Skopje, they support at least from the Department of Youth and Youth and Sport. They supported this project, so we could at least dedicate it to and construct an open call in order to invite young authors because of the nature of the grant. We are targeting people who are older than 18 years and younger than 30 years. When we start with this open call to distribute, to promote, we received several bad critics because why we are focused only on young people, it's a basic mistake. I say, please bear in mind the various circumstances of cultural policy and the nature of grants. So this grant, it's not an annual program. It is Department for Youth and Sport in the city of Skopje. And everything becomes calm afterwards, you know. So inspired from our personal, my personal also, and my colleagues' personal experience, each time when we go abroad on certain festivals or conferences, whatever, people from ex-Yugoslavian countries say, listen, in this past 20, 25 years, we haven't heard about any new playwriting name coming from Republic of Macedonia or North Macedonia, except Goran Stefanovski and Dejan Dukovski. Wonderful talents, very relevant, extremely relevant playwrights, but they're not the only one, you know? So I think this is connected also one aspect of fragile cultural policy that forgets about the generations that comes after Dejan Dukovsky and before after Goran Stefanovsky. Something that is very important, something that is how can I say, that you have to take care, that you have to automatically promote those persons with all the critics, with all the open discussion about their strong sides and their weaknesses, but not to ignore them, not to forget to publish them, not to forget to stage them. I think it is very ungrateful in contemporary Macedonian theater and performing arts that that 1 year or 2 years ago we were very rigid and forgettable about new names, new local names, staging new plays, and taking the risk. So after 10 applications, my colleagues made a final selection, and we invite these 5 authors. Of course, we invite Mia Efremova to publish her plays, who are written also under her pseudonym Mia Volt, in order to, how can I say, in order for hope to provoke that some of our very respectful and talented directors will pay attention and decide to stage some of our authors, or maybe everybody. So thank you, Beth.
Yeah, just one short question. Can you tell us something about the follow-up or something about this kind of I don't know, projects that can happen in the future or something? Because as you said, this is maybe one of these kind of projects that happened after, I don't know, or maybe the first one of the first project that is this kind of that holds this kind of nature. So is there anything that we expect for the future?
Yes, I forgot to mention the most important thing, that we are going to publish electronic books, electronic plays written by the authors who are our guests during this Zoom session. And beside this package, together with this promotional package, we hope that in the near future, our center would receive at least additional support to make a video theater project based on these plays. Fragments or all of them, depends from the finances, just in order to not the story to be finished and forgotten or stopped on the level of electronic books. And why electronic books? Because unfortunately we don't have sufficient finances to make hard copy for now, but electronic books means very easy regional international distribution, promotion on each platform, on each networks, who are our partners and collaborators, and also spread promotion on every libraries in the region or in Europe with whom we collaborate and share examples of each our new published ebook.
Okay, thank you then, Ivanka, for this wonderful background of the project. And now I will continue with authors, with playwrights, and initially I would like to just to congratulate you for being part of this project and for having this kind of experience. It sounded like an important one, but now we'll have the opportunity to hear your views and your perspectives about this project and how what it meant for you. So I will begin as I see you here in these boxes of Zoom. So here with us are Mia Efremova, Nina Plavanez, Nikola Kuzelov, Mia Nikolovskaya, and Sinan Rakipovsky. So as I'm seeing you here in this kind of order, I will start with you, Mia Efremova. So Mia, can you tell us something from your point of view, how this project was, what it meant for you, how you find yourself in this project, and any other thought that you have about this?
Thank you very much. Westford, firstly, I would like to share my thankfulness for being part of this project for a second time or third time. including the first one in 2014 with the short play Albert with Ivanka when I met her in Bitola on the International Monodrama Festival, and in the first colony for dramaturgy and playwrights from the Balkan. And now this year, I would like to share my gratefulness and thankfulness for publishing two of my plays. I mean, my last play, Big Deal in English, and my unpublished plays, including my first play written in a notebook almost 10 years ago, maybe more. First in a notebook with a pen, Ray Goes to Heaven in Macedonian, then translated in English, and other short plays as well, like Albert, Mandate, and other plays. And it means a lot because I didn't graduated dramaturgy. I have BIA in screenwriting and producing, MGMIT from the Film Academy in Prague. And now I'm a student at the Academy of Fine Arts, classical painting institute, where I work and live, and I was born in the museum, National Institution and Museum. And I work now here for 3 years when I came back from Prague. And this means a lot because I never really truly expected anything for my play from my plays to be published or to make something from them. Some of them were staged in the past before I went in Prague, but then things changed and I was focused more on film and other things and other writings. And now I try not to write, actually. And I can understand how some people who study dramaturgy are sick of writing because I'm sick of painting. And I couldn't wait to finish with the paintings. But you can stop writing. You can stop for a year or two, but not for long. It's impossible. So I think that from my first play, Ray Goes to Heaven, to my last play, Big Deal, it's kind of it's circle one period of my writings. And I will call it acceptance of myself when if I merge all those plays in one picture, like a moving picture in a film, we came to one conclusion. How do we accept ourselves as human beings? And I mean, that's the teenage years from 15, 16 to, or 14 to 27, which I'm now, and how to get through those critical years of our lives when we question ourselves a lot of things, and how to accept what we are, what we have in ourselves, what we can do with that in our life. And I really hope my next period will have more answers than questions than the first one, but I'm very grateful also to be part of this international online festival, and for all the publishing, all of the promotions, because without them, without Ivanka, without the ITI, Macedonian International Theater Institution, my plays wouldn't have seen the light. Yeah, some of them would have been staged in Stip and Skopje, but as Ivanka said at the beginning, the audience in our country and in the Balkan, we don't have a tradition or fundament for, or a base or a habit to go in theaters, to see some plays, to have fun there, but just for somebody to go there. That's for me.
Yeah, great. Thank you for these thoughts. And it looks like, Ivanka, you have done a wonderful job, especially with this project, since it really changed some things in our culture and in our state of theaters in general. So now we will continue with Nina Plavanez. Nina, you are the only one coming from outside of Macedonia. if we don't consider Mia like coming from Prague, and if we consider Mia like being from Macedonia, so can you tell us about your experience, and how do you see this project and what it meant for you, especially for you as one coming from outside of Macedonia, and if you can give us any thoughts about things or any parallel about the things, how things are going on in Serbia, and how do you see them going on here in Macedonia, it will be great.
Hello, thank you. My name is Nina Plavanez, and I am, as you said, I'm not from Macedonia. I'm originally from Belgrade. I was born there, and I studied dramaturgy at the Faculty of Dramatic Arts in Belgrade. I've graduated 2 years ago, and my first premiere made from my original play was actually in Skopje, in Macedonia, in the National Theatre in Skopje, and we had our premiere 2 months ago. It's called Samo Glas, or Just Voice, and I've been actually sent the informations about this wonderful project by the director of that play, Marija Nećak, who also originated from Macedonia and currently lives in Slovenia, but frequently returns to Macedonia, where he started his career. He sent me this project he was most excited about, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to share this play I had for years now with the world that didn't see the light of day until this project. And because of that, I'm very, very grateful to the organization, and especially to Ivanka, because like every project, every play needs to live its own life, to be born and then to grow, and then for us as authors to shape this play in accordance to our own preferences and personalities and everything surrounding us, but also to allow this work of art to grow and sort of live a life of its own. And this play, unfortunately, until now, I didn't get a chance to present it to the world, and I didn't persuade myself to return to the play and go through it again as a more mature, I hope, writer. So after learning about this project, I was inspired and excited, because honestly, these kind of projects are quite rare, and I can't make a certain parallel to this type of project with anything going on in Serbia. We have quite limited competitions for dramatic texts, dramatizations, and plays. Only recently did I learn that we are getting new programs of public readings in the national theaters across the country, and I am so thankful and happy because of that for all the young students that are only enrolling in dramaturgy and starting their journeys as writers. But yes, it was this learning about this project and this wonderful initiative to give the spotlight to us young writers. It gave me the strength to return to that work, and I've submitted it afterwards, and quickly after I've heard from Ivanka, and I'm very excited to see what will come out of all of this, and I'm also very excited to read all of the other submitted plays. I can't wait for the ebook.
Yeah, we are waiting for the ebook and for the opportunity to have the ebook in our hand, if we can say so, if not in our devices.
It's not one ebook, it's 6 ebooks.
Yeah, 6 ebooks. Yeah, thank you, Ivanka. So now we will continue with the second, Mia. And Mia, you are as I'm aware, you are the youngest one here, and you are still a student. You are still somehow in this educational process of dramaturgy, and yet to become a leading playwright in our country. So can you tell me something more about what this project meant for you, especially as someone who's coming from the faculty, someone who is not left outside of the faculty and left alone, like having to handle everything with their lives, but as someone who is still maybe not so fragile as everyone else?
Well, I do study dramaturgy and I'm currently in my third year, so I'm graduating next year, which is exciting. Obviously, it is sort of like a support system that I do have, my faculty and my professors sort of to guide me through the process of writing. However, because the process of writing is the longest, unfortunately, we don't really get to see our plays put on stage, unfortunately, because there is not enough time for that. And there are always so many excuses. And luckily with these projects, this is my second project with Ivanka, and it's great to see that someone is actually listening to the playwrights of this country and that they're giving us a voice in a way. It also is, I'm extremely thankful that I get to be a part of this community and to collaborate with amazing young people who are also into the same things that I am into, which is writing, obviously. I happen to write mostly plays that I don't think are really conventional, and therefore I don't really feel like too many people would be interested in them. But Ivanka showed interest, and that definitely gave me like a push to sort of believe in myself. And I feel like if anything, it is amazing for the self-esteem of an author to have someone to believe in them and support them. And I feel like it's amazing that I get to be a part of this.
Great. Okay, now Sinan, you're an actor and you're also a playwright. Of course, you will tell us something more about the project and what it meant to you. But I would like to hear some of your thoughts about how does an actor becomes a playwright, and why would an actor become a playwright? Well, I mean, is there something that I don't know that acting doesn't give you something enough or something that you are looking for, and can you make a link between being an author of a play and maybe even acting in the same play as well?
Yes, thank you, Besford. First of all, I'm so happy to have this opportunity to be with all these professional playwrights. I'm an actor, as you said, but acting isn't much different than playwriting, I think. This, I must be honest, this was so sudden thing, something that came up suddenly, and I didn't plan this. I'm writing plays, but still no one had the opportunity to see them. And thanks to Ivanka and all this project, I must say again, so suddenly, this might play. I have to say something. I saw in the email that was the name of the play. It was The Boyfriend, and I think that's a little bit of a mistake, because if somebody asked me, the play should be Dude, because the Macedonian thing of Dečko is like dude. And this play, it came just suddenly as I came here with you wonderful people. And I think that it's great opportunity, not just because my play came here and somebody read it and somebody will read it in the future, but this kind of projects, I think, are very helpful for people who cannot push the limit of. I can't say that the arts are kind of a royal thing, but there are too many talents and real writers who are out there and nobody knows about them, and they're just they have something to say, and I'm so happy that these kind of projects are made.
Well, great. Yeah, thank you for this observation. And now we have, I would say, last but not least, Nicola Kuzilov. And Nicola, you are much more involved into writing screenplays, and then some of them adapting into plays. So can you tell me, of course, about your role and experience in this project as well, but also something about this process of reworking with the same material, with your own thoughts, and somehow translating them from one media into another one?
Yes, hi, Besford. Thank you. So as you said, when it comes to writing, what I do the most is like screenwriting, but my original profession and first profession is acting, also like cinema, and that's a funny thing. First, I would like to make that link between acting and writing in general, and I think there is not much of a difference between them, because as an actor, when you are building a character, you are building a character in yourself, and as a writer, you are building the character on paper or on your computer. I mean, so from acting, I but somehow started to write mostly screenplays, writing for movies, short movies, feature movies. I have like a few short movies produced, to feature produced. And what I do least with writing is actually plays, like theater plays. I have just one play written and published in 2020, I think, previous year, in Eurodram, and this now epilogue 2077, which was born specifically for this call. And here I would like to thank Ivanka and ITI for everything that they do for the young people to present themselves to the public. So I saw the call for this project on social media, I think, and it was like a few months before the deadline. And I set a reminder because I had a lot of to do in those days. And the funny thing was that the deadline was like 2 days after that was my birthday, and I was like going 29, and maybe there was not even a chance for me to apply. But lucky me, I had those last 2 days. So I wrote this idea that I had like running through my mind a few years, maybe a decade. And it just happened in 2 days. And I'm so happy that in the end it was selected, and I'm here with all these young, talented people.
Well, great then. So as we are talking now, I really feel like, or at least you are giving me this kind of impression that this kind of projects were like, I don't know, like there was an urge for this kind of projects. And can you tell me now, as young playwrights, is there something that is missing out there? Is there anything that has to be done, and yet no one thought about that? And I don't know, are you as playwrights, are you missing something that really has to be done? And it's an open question for every one of you.
Yes, we are missing teamwork with more playwrights and mentorship with other playwrights which are older and other writers. collaboration, consistency with theaters, more projects, more collaboration with the Ministry of Cultures, and to finally put a foundation on something, because everything we create, it's 2021, we create everything, we have everything, and then it falls down. And if we don't make it now, this generation or the generation after us, if there is a generation, I hope so, it will fall down again. And there will be no writing, no theater, nobody buy books or read plays, or it's embarrassing to tell how some people, professors from the science fellows, don't know even what's the meaning of the word dramaturgy is.
Well, unfortunately, we are living in this kind of time, in this kind of era, I would say. But is there? I mean, Nina mentioned something that I'm not so aware that is happening or going on here in Macedonia. Nina, you mentioned that in Serbia there is an opportunity for a play to be read, and like public reading of a play and things like that. Do you think that this kind of let's say a methodology or I don't know, like, is this a one move forward, one step forward to for a play to be put on stage, to be produced? Does it really help, or maybe it's just something, I don't know, something completely different, something that is just a, I don't know, project for itself?
It can get a little self-gratuitous. I mean, there is this dissonance in our line of work between what works in theory and what works in reality. I love the idea of exposure for young authors. I love the idea for that exposure to be in the National Theatre of Belgrade and other national theaters around the country. I love that. What I can say though is that there are still perhaps a bit too few of these readings, because our classes in my ex-faculty, we have about 7 to 10 students each year. Each year we have about 10 more unemployed dramatists in this country. So perhaps I would like to see festivals dedicated exclusively to these public readings, as creative as they could possibly be. Bring in the big guns, bring in the established directors to help stage, even though it's a public reading, it doesn't have to be this demure and boring happening. It can be exciting. I think that life and excitement is something that's necessary to attract the attention to these public readings, because the last thing we want is for that to be this self-absorbed happening where we will get this opportunity to hear the play, but the only people in the audience will be the parents and brothers, sisters, and perhaps a few colleagues. There needs to be a culture of actually going to these things, marketing about these things. If we spend, I'm both in the film industry and in the theater industry, I know how much money goes to marketing, and if we can make up for that, I mean, we can get a small sum to raise awareness about these readings. I had my first public reading in the National Theatre of Shabac when I was barely 18 years old. I just turned 18 and I was incredibly excited. I have only started studying dramaturgy and my play was selected as one of 5 best in Serbia for Steri na Pozori. I don't know if you're familiar with the festival, but it seems to be a huge deal. I was beyond excited. However, the marketing was obsolete, so nobody really knew that we are even getting public readings, even though it's the biggest theater festival in Serbia by far. And
yeah, and a theater festival which is focused on, especially on the dramaturgy and Serbian playwrights.
Yes, I mean the rules and the selection has been changed to put our authors more on a pedestal, but it wasn't always like that. I'm happy to see those changes. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not enough for it to be a lovely opportunity in theory. It's not enough for us as young authors to hear, well, you should be happy because you're young and this should be a great deal for you. I really do want it to be a great deal for us, but give us exposure, give us excellent professionals and mentors to work with, because if we've made a play good enough to bring this attention and the cause for a public reading, we've deserved good colleagues to respect both us and our work and our time. I think the respect for authors in general, especially young authors, is what's missing the most, besides money, of course, but that's always the issue.
Okay, and Mia Nikolovska, now, since you're, as we also already mentioned, you're a student, I would like to know your thoughts about and your expectations. How do you see your future now? You will end your faculty, your studying, and then what? Is there an opportunity for you? Do you see any opportunity? Is there a chance for a new playwright, or I don't know, or maybe that's just a dream?
Well, I like to stay optimistic, and I have met so many wonderful people at my faculty that are all super talented and striving for something better, especially in the theater world. So I do feel like there is a new wave coming with us new generations, because there is sort of like we're kind of angry that it has always been just the same people, the same authors, the same actors, the same directors. And I feel like now all of those people are obviously getting older. There's supposed to be a newer generation coming in. And I feel like all of us are very optimistic, new and fresh, and we can really change the theater world. And maybe, perhaps, all of us can be successful in our dreams, which I feel like is a possibility, especially now because we are all striving for something better and for a newer version of theater. I feel like the old theater image that we have is sort of gone, and that's dead in a sense. And therefore, I feel like something new is coming, and it's going to be much better than previously.
Okay, and then now again with a question for all of you. How do you see the new do you see any new wave? Do you see any new generation, not only by ages, but also as some new movement in theater? And also, do you see, or do you feel that maybe, I don't know, the new generation has to offer something new? So it's open for all of you.
Okay, I would like to say something. There is a new wave and new generation in the theater globally, and we can see it, yes, on YouTube, on internet, and visiting some more developed countries and visiting some theaters there. But here in Macedonia, the new wave is coming, but it's coming late, like everything else. I mean, also in the theater, Mia mentioned that those people who are the same actors, writers, directors, they are getting old. They will go from the stage soon, and there will be a new generation, and that will be a generation of some transition, I think. And after that, I'm sure there will be a new wave here. I mean, in our country, not just in the sense of writing, in the sense of the acting style of the acting. I mean, the aesthetics of the theater, or the aesthetics of the stage, costumography, everything. The theater in Macedonia, like these days, I think the theater here is confused. Like people are struggling between the theater that we know, this old theater, and all these modern ways and new ways that the younger generation are bearing with us. And there is a struggle that I expect a transition, sadly, and after that maybe we will get to this new wave that is already happening in some other countries.
And now, Ivanka, I'm coming back to you after a while. Can you tell us how do you see this new wave and new ways of doing theater and new trends and all of that? How do you see this new thing coming in our theaters, especially in our institutional theaters? Is there a way? Is there a space? Are these institutions open for this kind of new things?
First, thank you, Besford. First, I respect our theater, and I respect all the people who are fighting, building, struggling, who are established or anonymous, and are creating our contemporary sector of theater and performing arts in our country. But I think the partization is a serious problem, but we are not going to talk about it because we are aware. And the phenomenon of clans, like you have a national institution, but you occupy it and you treat it like it's your own property. It's wrong. It's wrong. Nobody works like that, you know? Otherwise, we are southern people, full of natural dynamics, full of sense of rhythm, right? Very melodic, which means that by default we have certain talents, right? For performativeness, for performing, acting, staging, improvising, whatever. But I think theaters, most of the theaters with our academies, we have also private academy, we have many studios. Somehow we got stuck in traditional formats that are not updated, and how can I say, confusions, potentials of coquetting, borrowing, recognizing, intuitively taking and inputting in your program, you know. So it's a question of fragile system, and fragile systems inside the system that can be changed if we first start to nourish certain human characteristics, starting with respect, with investment, energetical, creative investment, no censorship, no self-censorship. That comes with education. We have to be very courageous, very brave, taking risk. Even if our first or second performance is a total failure, you know, it is very normal. The ups and downs, they're natural, are very normal. But you mustn't play social engineering and controlling the ups and downs, controlling the coming and going of each new generation, you know? You just have to give to everybody coming from certain professional field in the theater, art, culture, give them a chance, and at the very end, allow this. Maybe somebody will be very critical of these aspects of natural selection, you know? Some of us by nature are stronger, more dominant in their aesthetics, in their style, in their capacities of experimenting, using maximum this, how can I say, complex transformation in the domain of our theatrical profession, you know. Some of them are more weak, more narrow, but You just have to give to everybody a chance and then to see what is going on. Immediately will emerge several new ways, which is somewhere in Germany, in Croatia, in Slovenia, very normal, right? Because the communication with young generation is not cut. It's not, how can I say, suppressed. I hope so. I'm not too dispersive talking about this.
Well, yeah, and let's not be so negative.
No, not negative.
No, I'm not saying just I'm not addressing it to you, but you know, let's focus on what we can do, and because you know, if we focus on our problems, we know them all and we know them very well, but let's talk about what we can do and what we should do. So keeping this in mind, I would start with Mia Efremova. Mia, you said yourself that you are coming like from other kind of arts, and now you're somehow ending up with dramaturgy. And is there something that this kind of art can offer you that other kind of art didn't or couldn't?
Yes, I think every art is connected, every kind of art, with science also. But playwriting and writing plays or scripts or any kind of writing is like me sitting in the theater. I'm not sure if when I'm writing a play, if or a scene, if I'm watching a movie or a theater play somehow, because it depends on the music in my head. If I don't hear music, I cannot write. And it's kind of a part of me which was hard to accept. Sometimes I have real headaches when I don't write and when I ignore it, and I have to write. It's usually something inside me, something which sometimes I hate to do, because sometimes I'm doing something that I like, or you're out with your friends or you're doing personal things and it comes to you and you must write in that moment, and you're on your phone writing and you don't know what you're writing, and in 10 years after that it makes sense with some other play, that scene. We have to accept that will be part of the rest of our lives. Well, it's connected with other things, with other arts, in a way where it's the same medium. We're a channel. It's the same energy. Writing, as acting, as film, as other arts, as painting. It's the same. It's like climbing a mountain sometimes. The last play almost killed me. I couldn't wait to finish it. It was like in my head, and I told Ivanka, I can't wait to finish it. I'm not reading it again. No way.
Yeah, and since there's this kind of need to write, are there? And now I'm asking this especially in this frame of what we call, or what we used to call, like national dramaturgy or local dramaturgy or something like that. So is there something that like we or you in this context, as let's say as local local playwrights, are there subjects and themes that like people are waiting for you to cover, or like you have to cover since you are, I don't know, a playwright from Macedonia or Serbia, and you are not supposed to talk about, I don't know, big issues or big themes, but just local ones? Or is there this kind of approach?
No. You mean the topic on which I write?
Yeah, the topic, the issue,
No, it has never been. I wrote the first opera on Macedonian in Štip in 2013. The libretto on Macedonian language with soprano Blagica Poptomova, which is now in the USA. She lives there. And it was about Brexit and how European Union would not exist anymore, and the coming of the immigrants. But people barely look at these things. I mean, everything is given to us, not just to our plays. Every hidden issue is given to us through films, through books. If you know how to read, you will find the answer. People don't read, don't watch movies, they're not interested. So it's not our fault anyway. We are telling them the truth.
Yeah. And Nina, do you share the same thoughts? Because as you mentioned, Steli na Pozorje, as far as I'm aware, that's the theater festival where most of the plays that are presented there are somehow dealing with topics and issues that are on a very local level, I would say.
Well, I think the issues we have on the local level, being subtle dictatorship, subtle fascism, misogyny, assault, I don't think that's very local. It's a problem locally and it's a problem globally. So the plays, I myself haven't been to Stari na Pozorje this year because I have some film shootings, but I haven't seen them personally. I know in general what's on our stages now. I think the problems we are encountering both in Serbia and I suppose in Macedonia and in the Balkans too are the problems that are currently plaguing most of the Western world. I myself don't have a problem referencing this in my work. I don't have a problem watching it, and sometimes I have a need to tell some other kind of story, and I don't feel the need to reference the it and the now that is currently on the news as the big leading problem. But I think it makes a mark on all of us. We can't exactly cut ourselves off from the world and from these problems. It changes perspective, and you can write a romantic period play which will have a subtext of abuse and isolation, which are also current and quite modern problems.
Yeah, and also I would like to know your opinion. I mean, not yours personally, Nina, but all of you about, because I have that kind of impression that sometimes theaters and productions in general they tend to take plays by almost like by well-known authors, recognized authors, and authors that are sometimes maybe free, that they don't have any authorship anymore, and it's maybe cheaper to put them on stage and things like that. So how do you deal with this kind of let's say restrictions to your work? Do you have this kind of feeling that maybe sometimes it's much easier to produce a play by a well-known author or by someone that a production doesn't have to pay an authorship than maybe one of your plays? And it's again open to all of you, so feel free.
Just shortly.
Yeah, Ivanka? Yeah.
Just shortly, I think it is legitimate to play on a secure card, right? By choosing certain famous classical or classical modern or very famous contemporary for Anglo-Saxonic area or from German speaking area. But the point is that we have to be more courageous to risk with local new voices, you know, take a risk to see what's going to happen. Maybe the audience like to hear new voices, you know, and to see what kind of filter we will give through writing about certain topics that are as much as local in same time absolutely global, né? And to see how they will react, you know. I think I'm a little bit tired, and I agree with my colleagues from all around the world who are criticizing the cultural policy, who is trying to construct the opinion of the audience, you know. They are just playing like they are hearing the voice of audience, but you are just, how can I say, you excuse my English, you put constructions, you know. You think that you are more clever than audience just because you are a cultural politician, you know, and you know how to lead further certain trends or I don't know, thematic fluids, ways, subways, etc. The risk, old good formula. That's why we are on still enchanted from movies and theaters made in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, 90s in certain stages, because they were more braver, you know. And I think that certain things will start to reset, but I don't know when. This COVID frustrates us somewhere in between, directly or indirectly, depends from the individual.
And I'm glad that you mentioned COVID, because I wanted to follow up with some questions about this new normality, as we call it. So what do you think? What's the role of the playwrights offering some new ideas, some new trends and new ways of doing theater now, dealing with this pandemic theater trends and movements and so on?
New target topics.
Sorry?
On which we new target topics on which we need to write not just the history of the pandemic, but the medical problems. We need to protect women and side effects of the vaccines for unfertile women who couldn't have kids, for women who survived COVID, also for men, for young kids, for unemployed people, for depressed people, because the statistics shows that suicide is the biggest in 2020 than in any other year since the millennia started. And I think it's dramatic, and it's enough to write a play about it. For every country in this world, it's a question or a problem that is addressing the whole world, not just us. Because writing history or historical play, how we were isolated, everyone can do that.
And Sinan, you wanted to add something?
Yes, Besfor, thank you. I want to say that I don't want you to understand me wrong. This pandemic isn't a good thing. I'm depressed as all the world, but it's a problem, and it's a good opportunity for the artist, because the problem, I think, it's the main motivational thing for artists to create something. And with the previous question, I think the politics and arts has two things in common. That's public and creating problems. And I think that we shall work together, not maybe together in that conventional style, like working together. It cannot be, because that's like oil and water. But we can trace a path together. And yes, I believe that all the world is tired from all these old-fashioned things in the world happening till now. And I don't think we're now at the point of the Renaissance. I think that we haven't came there, but we will. I believe in it.
Okay, and also, what's your point of view about the role of the dramaturgy and the playwrights in general about finding new ways of doing theater, because we saw that some new ways emerged out of this pandemic situation, like online theater, like even this kind of Zoom theater, and so many other branches of online theaters. And even this festival itself is an online festival, online theater festival. So do you see yourself as playwrights that you have this kind of, I don't know, leading role now, that you can write new plays that would be much more suitable for this kind of theater trends? And maybe we can hear now Mia Nikolovska. Mia, what are your thoughts about this?
Well, I mean, it's not the first pandemic, so realistically, we can't invent anything. But I have seen a couple of attempts of some sort of a Zoom theater, but honestly, I don't really see that as theater. I don't know, to me, it just doesn't give off the same energy as going to the theater and sitting down and watching a play happen right in front of you. So I don't really think that we have a leading role. I think it's the exact same role, except now we have to get creative with the ways that we portray things, because we can't be in the same room with the people that we're supposed to show the play with.
Well, okay, I can agree with you at a certain level, but since there are these kind of productions, and since there are this kind of theater plays going on, I mean, we cannot ignore it. So I would like to hear from you, like how do you see yourself in? Would you, some of you, write some kind of an online play that would be an online play by itself, not something that would be like adapted to an online play, but an online play by itself, a play written as this kind of play, as this kind of a genre, and a play there that, I don't know, remarks would be like, he enters from this kind of the camera, someone else enters theirs, I don't know, this character is doing this on his box of a setting, and so on. How do you see on all of this? And again, it's open to, yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm strict in my belief that in theater there is some things that cannot be changed, and that have been not changed thousands of years, and that's just impossible. But yes, as you said, these new opportunities, I believe somebody tried to do that. I myself, I was playing, I was acting in one online play. It was a disaster, but yeah, like the first play we ever made online. And I think that, yes, if somebody tries to make a play especially for online playing and online watching, I think that is pretty much possible.
But maybe that's the courage and the risk that Ivanka is talking about. You know, if the play was, as you are saying, I'm now citing you, like, if the play was a disaster, it doesn't mean that I don't know, that you should quit doing that. You know. Okay then, but also for you as actors, Sinan and Nicola, do you find, yes, Sinan, we already heard your opinion, but do you find this kind of theater as a new way of doing theater, as a new way of communicating with audience? And also, I would like to go back to the previous topic when we said like sometimes there is a tendency to work or to produce well-known theater, a well-known playwright, then or a well-known play, then again, you as actors, do you deal with that? Do you have that urge that, like, I don't know, like sometimes we tend to see things and to do things in our profession just by wondering how it would look like or sound like having this kind of a role in our CV, in our portfolio, in our resume. So how do you see all of this? So there are two questions, like the first one about the pandemic and the second one about these tendencies of well-known playwrights and plays. Okay, Nicola and Sinan.
Okay, I will try to answer you and give you my opinion. For the first question, or I will combine. I think that we all have opportunity, like the writers, as actors, as everybody that are in this profession. Here is a chance. I'm thinking that this is a chance to invent something new and to make something new, because since this situation, there wasn't this form of theater, and I think that first, as writers, we can write especially for online theater, and as actors also. But the question that rises: do we want to do that, and what we think about that? Me personally, I'm okay with that. This COVID situation bring a new form of art, I would say, because I have a problem with saying it theater. It's not theater. We know what theater is. Theater is a person on a stage and person that looks at him and observes, and that's theater. Is happening here and now. As actors also, like Sinan said, we all had some experience with this online acting, theater, art show. It's some beautiful mix in the end from movies. You have online, you have camera, video, you have theater. It's a mix of many branches of art, but it's not theater. I have problem with saying it's theater. Because when you're in theater and you're on the stage, sector, you have the stage fright. You have the audience breathing in your back, and that's completely different experience than being home at your pajamas and acting and waiting for your partner to talk back to you and pray for the Zoom not to crash or not to stop, but I'm sure that this is some new form. Is it good or not? I don't know, but it's nice because it's new, and it can be. We all can be innovative in it.
And for the second question, sorry, I'm stubborn now.
Okay. The second question was about the famous plays and
about famous plays, famous playwrights, and
me personally, also as an actor, I'm avoiding famous and classical plays and texts and everything. I think they are classics because they are like great, but I'm trying as a person, as an artist, to push the art forward somehow in some new modern ways. I like to play Shakespeare or Chekhov, but I would like to see some completely new approach to that. And as a writer, I'm also trying to always put some new modern things, let's say, in those texts that will make the people who will stage that or shoot that make a step forward to something that is step forward. Just let's say make a step forward.
Okay, thank you. And I have two more questions, and we are somehow starting to run out of the time. But the next question that I would like to ask, and I would like to hear your thoughts, is about this situation, or this the difference between being a playwright and being a dramatist. And because both of them, or in like not always, but I would say like it's much easier for a playwright to be a dramatist too, and to be someone who would be close to the director, and who would be the person in charge for the play, and for all of what a dramatist should do. And how do you see your role there? Do you find yourself like much more being or having an opportunity to be a dramatist than a playwright, or vice versa, for all of you again? I don't think that it's a so tough question, and probably not a stupid one.
Well, in my country, every major theater basically has a dramatist that is tied to the house. So they do most of the dramaturgy for the plays chosen to be presented on stage. I haven't personally heard about a case where the playwright of the text is in the same time the dramatist while the play is being staged, but I'm doing that now, and I'm doing this play in National Theatre in Sombor, which I recommend dearly. I mean, the theater, I recommend the theater dearly for everyone. And it's a different kind of process, because we write these texts trying to sort of pull something out from us, some sort of obsession or emotion or story or characters, and then we make this enclosed world on paper, and then it has to become something completely else, because the text is, as we all know, it's not the same thing as an actual play on stage, when it's not just words of one person but work of 20 different people. So now I have to come out of my shoes as a writer and as this sort of mom to this text that is my baby, and I need to mold it to become something completely else. I did dramaturgical work for Miss Julie. We're working kind of on that right now, and I mean, you have to. It's a tough job to stay as respectful as you can to the text, and yet make it into something new with a new approach. And I know many of my colleagues had troubles doing this, because you grow up reading these monumental writers, and now all of a sudden you have to cut their lines. However,
sorry to interrupt you. I've heard once, like, what's the difference between a playwright and a dramatist? And like the answer was, the playwright is the one who writes the lines, and the dramatist is the one who cuts off the lines.
Well, that's not far from truth, but actually, it's sort of connected to this thing you were talking about with Sina and Nicola, which are these new ways to do an already famous established play, these new ways to direct it, to act it, a new approach. And I think dramaturgy and dramatists are crucial in this, because I think they are the ones who first mold this this new approach and this new angle for seeing the text. I mean, so many plays that had put the emphasis on the main character, we now see stagings of those famous plays putting the emphasis on the supporting characters. And some of these plays have become classics themselves. We see, I mean, Greek tragedies that are no longer about kings, but about the soldiers or the wives or the victims. I like the opportunities that dramaturgy offers, and I think there's a lot of creativity in that. I'm sorry, because sometimes that is easily overlooked. A director often chooses by themselves the exclusive approach and do the dramatist work on their own. But I would love for dramatists as much as playwrights to be included in new stagings.
Yeah. Since this is, as you mentioned that in Serbia, you said that most of the playwrights are employed in theaters as dramatists, and that's almost the same situation here in Macedonia. There are, again, also some young playwrights are also employed in few theaters. I think I'm not sure if every theater has its own dramatist. As I'm aware, no. But at least the biggest ones, they have their own dramatist, and that's an opportunity for playwrights. But again, since we are talking about the opportunities, I would like to ask you, Nina, about your opportunity to collaborate with Macedonian National Theatre, and as you mentioned it in the beginning, how was this collaboration, and what it was for you, what it meant for you to see a production of your play in National Theatre?
Well, first, I just need to say that when I say playwrights are employed in theaters, that's not most of them, that's about 10 of them in a sea of other playwrights and dramatists. There are probably thousands of us, but unemployed hundreds and thousands, because I mean, how many major theaters can you have in a relatively small country? And what, 10, 20? So these are 10, 20 at most people. Most of my colleagues are quite unemployed. So I would also very much like to see that major houses have several chief dramatists. So not only one person can work on every single play in that theater. I think it's better to have a team of 5-10 people. I mean, it's quite established in Germany and in other European countries that put an emphasis on theater. And to answer the second question, it was that little thing that's so crucial, unfortunately, in this line of work, which is luck. I had my play produced in Skopje by great luck. I have met Marija Nečak several years prior, I think in 2019 when I graduated, because of exactly the sort of thing I would like to see more in theater, both in Serbia and in Macedonia. And that is that I had a play and I showed that play to an artistic director in one theater only to get feedback. And he actually read it and he actually liked it. And then he actually wanted to find a person perfect for the play with no limitations. So he remembered Nečak's plays he saw abroad and thought, never mind, he's abroad, never mind, it's a bit complicated. I can see them working together. I would have never met him if it wasn't for the art director. And after I met him, we liked working with each other very much, and he invited me to write this project that was staged in the National Theatre of Skopje. So I had help and mentorship and protection of a great artist that is not only my friend now, but also kind of a role model. And I'm not being fake modest saying that I am not the only person who deserved that sort of chance, and I would like tens and hundreds of playwrights to get the same chance, not only because of us, of course I'm very happy for myself, but I think it's better for everyone to establish these sort of teams that complement each other. Directors and stage and costume designers and dramatists and playwrights and actors that complement each other as a team. And that's how you get great theater. That's how you get great art, by complementing each other. And I arrived in Macedonia in May, and I was quite shocked, honestly, by the level of respect that I got both as a playwright and as a person, because it's so easy to overlook a young author. And I have encountered that unpleasant experience many times. It's not a time of risks. I mean, we can look around and see most of media are reboots, sequels, and adaptations. Nobody likes taking risks anymore, and mostly the majority of people blames those who do. So I come here, and my play is staged beautifully, and I love the language of the theater chosen in it, because it's not classical talk theater. It's sort of immersive musical theater. It's more of an experience. I know that's not exactly new in this world. I mean, immersive experiences have been part of mainstream culture since the beginning of 20th century, but I don't think we have enough of them in the Balkans, both in Macedonia and in Serbia and in every other country of the Balkans. I think that experience and the collaboration of the artists and the audience is what makes theater theater. And that is sort of thing, this openness to immersiveness, that I would like to see. And an openness to language that is not only verbal, but is visceral and physical. I think that's also a huge part of the experience. And it always was. As we mentioned, theater was a certain sort of thing for 5,000 years now. And Greek tragedy emerged as this experience for the masses in the best possible sense of the way. Shakespearean theater as well in Elizabethan England. So I'd like to see more of that.
Well, I hope that we will see more of that, especially because, as you mentioned, there are persons who are willing to play a chain, a link between you and directors and the audience in general, and that kind of person is Ivanka here, a person who is linking you with the audience in general. So Ivanka, how do you see your role, and not your as in person, but your role as someone who is linking these worlds, these persons, these professions, and also can you tell us like something more about the publications and the ebooks, and where we can find them, how we can get to them, and just to complete this kind of link.
Thank you. What I'm doing, I think it's something very normal. I don't want to sound pathetic, but I'm a generation born in 1973. And during the 90s, I was the young one on the scene or outside the scene. And we had no chances at all. We don't have internet, you know. So I think today young people have a lot of opportunities. Not easy, but it's uncomparable, you know. But I don't want to sound pathetic. I think what I'm doing and people like me, what we are doing, it's something very normal and should be normal in every theater, in every independent scene, you know, everywhere. Because I don't know the other way, you know. For me, it's normal. If I had, as a representative of organization, more money, I think I could do much more things. For example, you know, not only with young people, but with mixed generation. Back to the electronic publishing, unfortunately, people who would like to have an example of every electronic publication that we have published now has to contact me and to ask for gratis example or to pay for book in PDF format. Why? We don't have, how can I say, electronic e-shops dedicated for Macedonian publishing. You know, I think maybe I'm wrong. I don't know what is going in between. I have to check once again. But I cannot just like that. It's too expensive each time to make, to put PDF on CDs and to bring it to the various Skopjes, Bitola, Tips, etc. Bookshops, because I know nobody will buy. Each time when we publish a play, we are making the free distribution to all directors and theaters in Macedonia. But I don't know what is going on afterwards. Who really reads, or are they stepping in direct communication with playwrights? I don't have control on that, you know. But my principle and the principle of ITI Center is to make this mathematical distribution, hoping on good feedback, hoping on staging. And this is very important. I like to say we wrote each electronic book. The authorship belongs to the authors for stage. The authorship are 50-50% shared for eventual selling of ebooks, you know, but nobody is buying plays, unfortunately. That's why we are making additional electronic promotion by distributing the examples to the libraries, because today every library has its own e-library section, and I think it's even better promotion. You cannot earn anything. The sales are very modest, but distribution on the level of promotion, it is very successful, you know. So unfortunately, we have very specific media. They don't talk about our successes. But if you have some personal contact with the people from ITI Network or from Croatian ITI Center or German ITI Center or ANICPA or LODEPA Network, then you will find out how active we are and how much we nourish the products made by our theatrical colleagues and who are, how can I say, promoted via electronic book as, I don't know, visual book or play, electronic play, etc.
So for anyone who would like to read this plays, they have to contact you directly.
Or the ITI Center, and we will send a
where and how can they reach you?
Facebook. I am me, myself, and the center are most active and documented and archived on the Facebook social media. So, Facebook, not so much Twitter. YouTube, but YouTube, so you can see the videos, the video archive. But on Facebook, we have all the time direct interaction via inbox or contact, how can I say, a comment under the certain photo or status, whatever. The inbox, I recommend the inbox or email. If you go on the ITI network and you search for North Macedonia ITI Center, you will find our emails there. Macedonian Center of IT at gmail.com or Ivanka Apostolova at gmail.com. Igor Plavanez is our general secretary, but he is mostly active in the graphic design, not so much as a general secretary lately, since we are working as an NGO, not anymore as an associative organization, being part of Euro-Balkan Institute.
Okay, I'm sure that these emails and these contacts will be shown on the descriptions below this video. So anyone who would like to read the plays, or who would like to know something more about the plays, and hopefully anyone who would like to produce them, they can find them easily by contacting you.
For eventual, for eventual staging, we can immediately connect the directors with authors.
Yeah.
If they don't manage to step in contact directly with them, you know.
Yeah. There are both ways. Okay then, and since we are here at the end of this conversation, I would just want to ask you once again if you have something in mind, something that you would like to share with us, something that I didn't mention or I forgot to say, or something, any topic that we didn't cover. Please feel free to say it now, or remain in silence, and so we can have some few minutes more.
Just shortly to say, these people are very talented. They wrote brilliant plays. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to read all of them, and I totally agree with Ivanka. So. Since there are no other comments and no other things to share, I would like just to thank you, all of you guys, for sharing this platform and having this great talk here. And I wish you all having or seeing your place on different and worldly theaters everywhere, produced there by great directors, and having a great success with your plays. And for you, audience that were with us, I would just want to recommend to stay in touch with this theater European Alternatives, this online theater festival, and follow this festival for the rest of the program, and because there is much more and there are some really great things to see in this festival. And we hope that as this is the first edition of the festival, on the next editions we will have much more young playwrights and much more young directors and theater doers in general, to talk with them and to see their plays and their deeds with all of their success. So thank you to all of you again, and see you next time.